Revoke Vault AWS Auth is an essential step in managing access to your AWS resources through HashiCorp Vault. This guide will walk you through the process of revoking Vault AWS Auth, ensuring you understand the key concepts and best practices involved. To begin, it is crucial to understand the Vault AWS Auth method. This method allows users to authenticate with Vault using their AWS credentials, enabling them to access AWS resources securely. However, when a user no longer needs access or their credentials are compromised, it is vital to revoke their authentication. The first step in revoking Vault AWS Auth is to identify the entity you want to revoke. This could be a user, a group, or a role that has been authenticated with Vault using AWS credentials. You will need to have access to the Vault CLI or API to perform this operation. Next, you will need to use the Vault CLI or API to revoke the entity's authentication. Using the Vault CLI, you can run the command vault AWS revoke entity, followed by the entity ID or name. For example, if you want to revoke the authentication of a user with the ID user 123, you would run the command vault AWS revoke entity user 123. Alternatively, you can use the Vault API to revoke the entity's authentication. This involves sending a delete request to the Vault API endpoint for the entity, including the entity ID or name in the request path. It is essential to note that revoking Vault AWS Auth will immediately remove the entity's access to AWS resources through Vault. Therefore, ensure you have the necessary permissions and have verified the entity's identity before revoking their authentication. Best practices for revoking Vault AWS Auth include regularly reviewing and updating access controls, monitoring entity activity, and implementing least privilege access principles. By following these best practices and understanding the process of revoking Vault AWS Auth, you can maintain the security and integrity of your AWS resources and ensure that access is granted only to authorized entities. In conclusion, revoking Vault AWS Auth is a critical step in managing access to your AWS resources through HashiCorp Vault. By following the steps outlined in this guide, you can ensure that entities no longer have access to sensitive resources when it is no longer needed, maintaining the security and compliance of your AWS environment.